Hello everyone, welcome back to Tarot. Thank you so much for always following and supporting the channel. The moment you come across this video is the right time for you to receive its message. On this channel, I always bring you insights about what's coming into your life. When you embrace and believe in the positive, you are also connecting with a parallel reality, one where your wishes have already come true. Today, through this tarot reading, I hope to help you open up to the possibilities of the future and support you on your journey to conquer love and manifest your desires. Today, I will be doing a tarot reading with the theme, What's going to happen to you at the end of May? I've prepared 3 cards corresponding to Pile 1, Pile 2, and Pile 3. Take a moment to tune into your intuition and choose the card you feel most drawn to, then click the timestamp in the description box to jump to your chosen reading. Now, let's begin the session for those of you who have made your selection. Hello, Pile 1 friends. Thank you for your patience. I'm now going to begin the reading for those of you who chose Pile 1. I hope this reading brings you healing, fresh insights, and moments filled with love. The theme of today's reading is, what's going to happen to you in the second half of May? First, let's take a look at the main theme that will be unfolding for you during this period. Your central theme for the latter half of May is, you are about to land. That is, you're about to arrive at the destination you've been tirelessly working toward. Perhaps you've spent this past period living with great expectations, even without knowing exactly how things would turn out. You've poured your heart, mind, and body into your efforts, despite the uncertainty, despite the lack of any clear promise. And yet, in the second half of May, the things you've done, the actions you've taken, the effort you've invested, those will be the answers. They will finally speak for themselves. As a result, you'll find yourself reconnecting with your passion. That feeling of rediscovering your passion, if we were to describe it more concretely, it might look something like this. Suppose right now, at the very moment you're watching this reading, you had to give yourself a title. What one word would you choose to describe yourself? Just one word. Maybe it's patient, joyful, or determined. Whatever word instinctively comes to you right now. And that very word, that title you've been carrying, will begin to shift in the second half of May. It will be transformed into something new. This reading is telling you that this is a turning point, a moment where the label you've used to define your everyday life is about to change.
Why?
Because something is about to become clear. Something you've been facing for a long time will finally land. It will finally reveal itself. And through that clarity, a fire will be reignited within you, the fire of passion, rising from deep inside. You'll begin to reshape your concept of living and step into a new phase of life with a completely renewed mindset. The next message coming through for you is incredibly clear. Let me draw another card for further insight. Ah, how wonderful! In the second half of May, you will receive the recognition you truly deserve, a fair and just acknowledgement of the effort you've poured into your journey all this time. The energy of this reading carries a powerful magnitude. It seems that you are about to enter a phase where things are going to unfold on a much broader scale. When we speak of something on a grand scale, it could mean that you're physically moving to a more expansive place, or that you'll begin connecting with larger networks, a new community, a broader circle of relationships, or people who share a profound, meaningful connection with you. For example, if you're active on social media, you may witness a sudden surge in your follower count. Or if you're involved in financial investments, your accumulated assets might significantly increase. Regardless of the field you're in, this expansion is the direct result of the dedication and effort you've consistently invested in refining yourself. The universe wants to emphasize this. The reason you're receiving this reward is because you've genuinely committed to your personal growth, wholeheartedly, sincerely, and without retreat. As mentioned earlier, you gave everything, your intellect, your emotions, your strength, to face something uncertain with no guarantee of what would come. And even in the midst of uncertainty, you never gave up. Now the reward is arriving. This well-deserved recognition will stand as clear proof of everything you've steadily nurtured. And this, truly, is a joyful message for you. When I speak of something on a grand scale, it doesn't necessarily mean an explosive event or a dramatic milestone happening overnight. What's coming your way is something lasting, an enduring expansion, one that grows steadily and consistently over time. It's a continuous flow, not a brief flare that fades. If I may go a little further beyond the core message, a vivid image has just appeared to me, an apple suspended midair. That image feels like a reflection of your journey. Every step you've taken has left a trace behind, as if you've been walking a delicate tightrope, suspended high in the sky. And that rope was never steady, Just the slightest breeze could have made its way. And yet, you kept walking, step by step, in an environment that was unfavorable, precarious, restricted, and confining. You weren't free, and turning back wasn't an option either, because going back would have been just as dangerous and full of risk. And as for trying to run through it quickly, impossible. One wrong step, and you could fall. In such a situation, you did everything you could. You kept moving forward, even though every single step required you to stretch yourself to the edge just to maintain balance. It was a process filled with difficulty and challenge, where you had to confront things that were far from easy, within a space that offered little support. You lived through a period where even your time for yourself was limited. And yet, you didn't give up. You stayed. You chose to face reality, and you remained loyal to the path you had chosen. There were moments when you questioned how long this situation would last, and whether all your effort would ever truly be recognized. You carried that uncertainty in your heart, but still, you chose to face it. You chose to stay with what you believed in. And in the second half of May, a clear result will finally appear. So the message here is, hold on just a little longer. Stay with it, even if it's only with the last bit of strength you have, because the moment of transformation is very near. Perhaps when you hear the phrase hold on a little longer, you feel tired, worn out, like there's no energy left to keep going. But the message here isn't asking you to endure more or to be more patient. That's not what this is about. All that's being asked of you is to stay. Just don't walk away. Don't sever the connection with what you're doing, and that alone is enough. You don't have to push yourself beyond your limits anymore. You don't have to force your mind to keep coming up with something new. Just loosen your grip a little and let the current carry you forward. Because in the second half of May, everything will land on its own. The result will come to you naturally. And this is an opportunity you truly don't want to miss. I know this part is a bit long, but it's only because the message is so strong, so full of meaning. So if anything within this reading resonates with you, let it in. Let it find its place within your heart. Now, let's take a look at your career or the pursuits you're currently following. Oh, once again, a strikingly synchronized image emerges. Earlier, I mentioned the vision of you walking on a tightrope, and now, the next card presents a very similar image, something like a piece of fabric or a ribbon stretched out in midair, as if you're continuing to walk this precarious path. This card represents design, and it's sending a message related to your work or the activities you're engaged in. Of course, what you're pursuing might span across many different fields, but the common thread here is this: you're still holding on, taking each step forward, as if crossing a delicate thread in the sky. Perhaps you've had to endure a confining and stifling situation, an environment that wasn't exactly easy to breathe in. But what's remarkable here is that the reading affirms, you are someone who has truly left a mark. You didn't let those hardships sweep you away in vain. What you've accumulated up to this point stands as clear evidence of your resilience. So now, we'll explore what impact that will bring in the second half of May. I must say, the next cards are truly magnificent. I can clearly feel a sense of release, a feeling of rightful reward. The Justice card appears, signaling that you will receive a fair outcome, one that is honest and unembellished. And then, the Ace of Pentacles reveals itself. This is a sign that you are stepping into a new phase, a clear, tangible turning point. A real doorway is opening. The Ten of Cups brings with it the energy of purification, emotions being cleansed after a long and tense journey. Once everything is washed clean, you will be reborn, as I mentioned earlier, stepping into a new chapter with a different perspective on life, a renewed understanding of yourself. And there, you will rediscover your passion. You will be ready to embrace the new, with a heart that has come back to life. The reading emphasizes this: a renewal of emotions, a resurgence of passion, is coming your way. One more thing, the Victory card has also appeared. A radiant triumph, but not one over a clear-cut opponent. This is a victory over invisible enemies. Perhaps you've been battling fear, ambiguity, and uncertainty, fighting with your own shadows in the dark, facing things that had no defined shape. You gave it everything you had, without even knowing exactly what you were fighting. But still, you kept going. And now you, the one who did not surrender to those vague and shifting trials, are about to enter an entirely new phase. A true beginning. A true reward. A true victory. I sense that you are someone deeply sincere. You have lived and faced everything with wholehearted honesty. Yet, within you, there's always been a lingering worry. All the things you've tried so hard for, everything you've persistently pursued, Could it all be in vain? And if it truly were, wouldn't it be better to devote your life to something more meaningful, more deserving? That concern is completely understandable. After all, who among us doesn't long to live for something important? Who wouldn't want to offer their life to something truly worthwhile? But because you've had to walk across such a fragile thread, because your life has always felt so precarious, even having the freedom to use your own time has become a rare luxury. And still, within that imbalance, you chose to give it your all. You decided, no matter what, I will do the best I can. And that is the greatest value of all. Here, the key card, the one symbolizing victory, has appeared. It brings the message that you will achieve triumph. But I understand, when you hear the word victory, you might no longer feel excited. You may have reached a point where winning or losing, gaining or losing, even being recognized, no longer holds much weight. You might have thought, it's fine, even if I don't receive anything in return. But the victory this reading speaks of, it's not something that sets you above others, not a lonely ascent to the top. This is a very special kind of triumph, one that brings happiness not just to you, but to those you love as well. It's the kind of result that enables you to protect, uplift, and share warmth with those who matter most to you. A victory vast enough to become a shelter, not only for you, but also for those who have walked alongside you all this time. So the message here is, please don't let go. Even if things feel uncertain, fragile, or exhausting right now, please hold on just a little longer. Because the moment of landing is very near. And when it comes, you'll know that it was all worth it. Perhaps, even if you wanted to let go, you simply couldn't. The current situation might be holding you tightly, as if things just can't come to a close yet. But the reading wants to tell you this. Just a little more patience. Just a little more is enough. Because in the second half of May, the Ten of Cups has appeared, and in the tarot system, the number 10 represents completion, the highest point in a cycle. At the same time, the card numbered 1, the symbol of a new beginning, has also shown up. This means that a phase is drawing to a close, and a new shift is on the horizon. Something is about to begin, clearly and unmistakably. Since this part speaks about your work or what you're pursuing, the message holds broad significance. But it can be understood that, along your journey, there were times when you glimpsed the darker sides of society, of human nature. You may have faced selfishness, toxicity, or even envy, and that left you feeling deeply saddened, perhaps even wounded on a profound level. And yet, it was precisely through witnessing those things that you were able to affirm, with greater clarity, that the path you've chosen is the right one. You began to understand. So this is it, the way I live, the way I strive isn't wrong. And you could finally say to yourself with confidence, I did the right thing. The reading also reveals that perhaps, in the past, you blamed yourself a lot. There were times you wondered, why did I let myself get entangled in this? Why did I end up here, in this situation? And then you turned that blame inward. Those questions kept circling, again and again, until eventually, they brought you to a place where you began to reject yourself. But now, a turning point awaits, one where you'll be able to look back at yourself with gentler eyes. A place where the self-blame fades, and in its place rises a profound acknowledgement of who you are. Because, once again, two powerful cards have emerged, justice and the returning victory. This could mean that what you've been pursuing all along, what is right and true, will be vindicated. You will be exonerated, recognized. And at the same time, the distortions, even if they don't need to be publicly exposed, will be corrected, set back in their rightful place. In other words, what is right will be restored. And you, the one who has always chosen the path of integrity, will finally be affirmed. There's one card that keeps drawing my attention, and it evokes a very particular feeling. It's possible that what's coming to you is a result that has taken a long time to arrive. Some might wonder, why only now? It may feel belated, or even surprising. But then, there will come an unexpected moment, as if something suddenly clicks within you. So that's what it was. I wasn't wrong. I was right all along. What a relief that is. I see an image, as if you're stepping down from that fragile thread, landing gently, both feet touching the ground firmly. And in that moment, you feel it so clearly. I'm alive. A true sense of being alive, of breathing fully, something almost beyond words, but so deeply moving that it could bring tears of release. The reading also reveals that, throughout the journey you have traveled and are still traveling, you will gradually come to understand the entire picture. You will begin to see why you had to face those experiences, why you were placed in that situation. Eventually, You will know with clarity whether you truly need to continue or whether your mission there has already been fulfilled. A complete vision will unfold, and you will grasp the very thing you've longed to know, the answer you've been searching for all this time. This connects deeply to the theme that has run through the entire reading. And then, as I pulled a few more cards for clarity, something magical happened. The images that emerged still carried the same spirit: fragile threads, fabrics drifting in a wind, silken ribbons stretched across the air, all evoking once again the vision of you tirelessly walking that precarious path. Even the garments draped across your shoulders, the flowing pieces of cloth, or even the withered apple hanging loosely, all are remnants of what you've left behind. I mentioned this earlier, and now the cards reaffirm it. No matter how harsh the weather, no matter how fierce the wind or how heavy the skies, you remained. You stood your ground. You fought. You did not give up. You did not surrender. No matter how unfavorable the circumstances, you continued to live in alignment with your values. And now, all those efforts are about to be rewarded. It's truly an astonishing coherence. Every message leads back to the same point. The Moon card has appeared, and true to its meaning, it is the symbol of uncertainty, of unnamed fears. The reading shows that you've been endlessly asking yourself, when will this end? Where and how will I finally be able to break free from what I'm facing? You've lived with that feeling for a long time, as if trapped in a question with no answer. And throughout that time, you received no clear response. You had to grope your way through it alone, walking step by step in the dark. And then, the Emperor card emerges, carrying with it a grounding, stabilizing energy. It's as if it comes to answer all the instability and ambiguity you've endured. This card says, what has been formless will take shape. The invisible enemies, the unnameable pressures, all will gradually become clear and be addressed with certainty. The Emperor is a deeply grounded card. It represents the moment when what was once unclear begins to take shape, when the things you previously couldn't control begin to fall into place. And as I mentioned earlier, you've poured your entire mind, heart, and body into facing this journey. There were times when you came up with bold ideas, laid out plans, and carried them out, but perhaps the results didn't meet your expectations. Sometimes there were failures. Sometimes there were successes, but they weren't properly recognized. Still, you never gave up. And now, you are about to be placed in the position of the Emperor, a figure who holds power in the material world, who governs territory, leads a community, and embodies strength and order. And, perhaps most importantly, the Emperor is someone who lives in truth with himself. No embellishment, no deceit, honest, clear, and unwavering. I truly believe that image is you. The reading clearly shows that this is who you are, someone who keeps striving, who remains honest, and who fights with integrity. And now, the time for you to rise into that rightful place has finally arrived. No matter what your circumstances have been, you've always given your all. You've done everything within your power, invested your full energy to face each challenge. And it is through that tightrope of a journey that you have forged a reality, a well-earned outcome that is now, at last, reaching its destination. Like a marathon, you've endured the long journey with unwavering perseverance, and now you are approaching the finish line. For the year 2025, the second half of May will stand as one of the most pivotal milestones in your life. You may have already started to sense it. Some have already stepped into this moment. Others may only feel a faint stirring. There may even be a slight time shift. For some of you, this turning point could arrive in early June. But regardless of the exact timing, a new phase, a major turning point, is drawing near, with clarity and certainty. And the beauty of it is, this isn't a fleeting spark that quickly fades. It is a lasting change, a result that brings stability and long-term growth. A true transition. The reading shows that you are someone who carries a tremendous depth, someone of great stature. Now, let's shift our focus to the next part, your relationships. Perhaps as you listen to the earlier messages, you are so immersed in your personal journey that you unintentionally overlooked the people around you. So now, let's turn our attention there. If you wish to interpret this section through the lens of love, you absolutely can. Just place it within the context that resonates most with your experience. And how wonderful! The Wheel of Fortune appears, accompanied by the Nine of Cups. A powerful combination, filled with energy of renewal, fulfillment, and unexpected shifts in direction. Something you once believed was lost is now making its way back to you. It could be the feeling of happiness, a connection that had been broken, a wish you thought had been forgotten, or simply a part of your heart that once shattered from pain. The reading is saying that missing piece, that wounded part, is now being healed, and perhaps even returned to you. These two cards both carry the essence of loss. They both evoke that feeling. And alongside them is the Nine of Cups, often known as the Wish card, appearing together with the Wheel of Fortune. These symbols are conveying this: your heart, which once was swept up in overwhelming emotion, will begin to regain its balance. Darkness will be transformed into light. Perhaps, for instance, you once had a relationship that never reached resolution, a separation that left something unresolved in your heart. If that's the case, there may be a chance for this connection to be revived. Whether that desire comes from the other person, from within you, or from both sides, that is something only you can sense and align with your own story. The image is of a heart pierced by swords. It evokes a deep wound, perhaps caused by misunderstanding, or perhaps not a misunderstanding at all, but a very real fracture that once appeared in the relationship. There was once a period of distance, but both parties have since grown, and now there may be a chance to start over. The card gently reminds us that in relationships, such a thing is possible, a new beginning after old wounds. It feels like more clarity is needed, so additional cards are drawn. This person may be someone very familiar, someone who evokes a sense of warmth, closeness. And then the Tower card appears. This reveals that there may have been a significant shock in the past, an upheaval that truly brought you to your knees. And it feels as if this person is far away, somewhere distant and unreachable. I sense this person is someone from very far away. The distance may be in time, meaning it has been a long while, or it could be a literal, physical distance. But more than anything, this is someone who brings a strong sense of familiarity and nostalgia. Because so little information remains about them, even you may find their memory slowly fading. Though you still remember clearly, what once were sharp, vivid recollections have now begun to blur. It's as if that part of your life is gently retreating into the far-off past. This was a relationship that once held deep importance for you, perhaps in the realm of love. And now, that relationship may be reborn. For the cards show a process of destruction, followed by renewal. The image of the Tower, if we liken it to the human heart, is the moment the inner world erupts. Every emotion once suppressed suddenly bursts forth. It's a moment of emotional reckoning, a seismic shock to the soul. Earlier, I mentioned the possibility that past misunderstandings may finally be resolved, and that's exactly what this reading continues to affirm. What you once longed to understand, the question that lingered painfully in your heart, may now come to light. The reason the relationship broke down at that time was something neither of you had the maturity to face or handle. Both you and that person were still too inexperienced, without the emotional tools or life experience needed to navigate such a wound. But now, after quite a long period, a time that seems to have served as space for stillness and healing, both of you have grown. Both have learned how to respect each other more deeply. And what I sense from this reading is a message about emotional maturity, a maturation within both you and that person. If what I'm saying doesn't fully resonate, please feel free to set it aside. This message can apply to many types of relationships, not only romantic ones. It could be about family, a reunion with a relative, an old friend, someone you once cared for very deeply. Perhaps among those of you watching, some are viewing this reading through the lens of love. If that's the case, then apply it directly to your situation, especially if you've been thinking about the possibility of reconciling with someone from your past. Even if you don't truly wish to revive that relationship, the reading is still offering you something important. The lingering confusion, the unresolved ache within you, will be lifted. A sense of emotional release is on its way. If you are relating this message to family, then this may be a time for rebuilding family ties in a deeper, more positive way. I sense that this is something you've longed for from the heart. Because the Nine of Cups, the card of wishes, has appeared. Even if you're not consciously hoping for clear reconciliation, there may still be a quiet part of you waiting. Waiting for a gesture, a message, a question, or an explanation from someone. Something simple, but deeply meaningful. At the core, there is still the feeling of loss. The wounds you've experienced, as I've mentioned, may have originated long ago, from a deeply rooted moment in the past, such as the relationship between you and your parents. Perhaps you once longed for a word, a gesture from them, and even now, that absence has left a lasting mark on your heart. Of course, this can apply to any kind of relationship in your life, friendships, family members, colleagues, anywhere you may have been hurt. There's a lingering sense that if only that pain hadn't existed, if only that experience had never happened, your life might have been so much easier. You may have thought many times, if I didn't carry this emotion, maybe I could have lived differently. The reading reveals the presence of a certain kind of emotional wound, like an old scar that was never truly healed. And that is why I feel that the second half of May may be the time when you finally receive what you've needed most, perhaps a word of love, an act of understanding, an explanation, or even an apology. Something will help you touch the very root of that old pain, and from there, a true healing process can begin. It's possible that you will finally hear the words you've longed for all this time. Because as I've shared, the process of destruction and rebirth here is not merely about rebuilding a relationship, it's also about inner healing. It is the moment your heart recovers, is reborn, and once again can lift itself up and move forward. The Wheel of Fortune card is also echoing this very message. And so, you may find yourself entering a phase of reconstructing a certain relationship, or you may receive something from someone, a gesture, a word, a meaningful initiative, and through that, your heart is purified, released, and your path ahead becomes unburdened. You will be able to move forward with lightness, no longer weighed down by the old regrets. That is the message the reading is offering you now. The entire energy of this reading carries the sense of a major turning point in your life. The second half of May is the perfect moment for you to begin again, in the truest sense of the word. So, before we close this reading, I'll draw one final message, a concluding note for you. It seems that you are about to undergo an incredibly powerful and profound experience in the second half of May. A journey filled with upheaval, yes, but also an opportunity for you to be reborn from within. And beautifully, the final card to appear is the birth card. Number 1 and number 2, appearing one after the other. The beginning and the birth. A symbol of your rebirth while still alive, a renewal in spirit, in awareness, and in heart. You are stepping into a phase where your very being will become renewed, deeper, fuller, and more powerful than ever before. And here, there is a detail I don't usually pay much attention to, but this time it stands out so clearly, the faint image of the moon drawn on the card. It's a thin, delicate crescent, almost whispering to you, just a little more, and the true beginning meant for you will arrive. As if that soft moonlight is gently reminding you that your life is about to step into a new phase, that a real beginning is drawing near. And I felt compelled to draw one more card, like a small gift to offer you. When I did, something unexpected happened. In this deck of light, all the cards are symbolic images, except for one, which bears a clear and unmistakable word. Yes. And that was the card that appeared. This is the first time in all the times I've used this deck that I've seen the Yes card come up. It has never happened before. And it feels as though this card is saying, yes, that's right. Perhaps it's an answer to a question you've been quietly carrying in your heart. Take it as a sign of affirmation. Yes, you are on the right path. Or perhaps it's an agreement, a confirmation for what you're about to face in the second half of May, a gentle validation that you've understood what needed to be understood, that you're ready now, that you can move forward. Yes, as a blessing from the universe, from your heart, and from your own spiritual journey. Truly, it feels as though what's coming into your life in the near future carries an extraordinary magnitude, something so vast, it seems to surpass the realm of ordinary, everyday experience. A powerful transformation, a profound turning point. Something within you, or within your life, is about to change in a way that cannot be undone. And because of that, I feel it's only right to draw one final card of light, a closing ray to end this reading that's been full of upheaval, but also full of hope. Indeed, the second half of May holds a dense and potent energy. And though I've known this, I find myself posting this video only as May is nearly coming to an end. I sincerely apologize to you for that. Life has been so busy lately, everything coming at once with no pause. But this reading truly deserved to be shared, and I want to choose this last card as a way to complete today's message. Wow, the card that appears is number 10, composed of 1 and 0. And once again, the number 1 is being emphasized. In numerology, the number 0 serves to amplify the energy of the digit that precedes it, meaning that the 1, representing beginnings, action, and awakening, is being elevated. The second half of May clearly marks a time of deeply significant and meaningful new beginnings for you. The reading also shows that you are gradually entering a state where you can live in alignment with your own beliefs and ideals, no longer swept along by someone else or something outside yourself. You're breaking free from a sense of manipulation or being controlled. And once again, the message returns, just a little longer. There is something that, if you were to let go of it now, might be a true loss. I sense the image of a vertical axis, symbolizing your inner development, personal depth, and inner strength, expanding and rising. At the same time, the horizontal axis, representing relationships, knowledge, resources, and abundance in all its forms, is also beginning to stretch outward. From here, you will begin to experience a powerful expansion, both in depth and in breadth, within your life. A long path is gradually unfolding before you, a steady, grounded path built upon the very foundation of your inner strength, unwavering determination, and the values you've so faithfully upheld. And soon, you will walk this path, steady, confident, and free. So, the final message meant for you is this. Even if you are currently in a difficult phase, caught between worrying about the future and struggling to meet the demands of daily life, please rest assured. Because everything, even the thing you're most anxious about, will soon begin to resolve in a way that brings relief, and perhaps even unfolds into something better than you ever expected. All you need to do is continue being true to yourself. There's no need to force yourself to say yes when your heart isn't in it. Be yourself in the most natural, honest, and wholehearted way. No matter which path you choose, the final outcome remains the same. The reading reveals that whatever direction you take, everything will eventually transform in a positive way. You don't have to strive to please anyone. You have the right to pause. You have the right to do nothing at all. And even if you're simply existing in that space of rest, know this. You are still deeply valuable. You are living. You are still trying. And you deserve to be praised for that alone. Tell yourself, I've done so well. That's what the cards are tenderly urging you to hear. With that, I'll close the reading for those of you who chose pile 1. If today's message touched you, even just a little, I'd be grateful if you could leave a sign, a like, a comment, or even a small symbol, just so I know your heart has received it. Your presence and support are a precious source of motivation that keeps me sharing these meaningful messages. Thank you for listening until the end. I look forward to seeing you again in the next reading. Hello to those of you who chose pile 2. Thank you for waiting. Now, I'll begin the reading for those who selected the second pile. I hope this reading brings you healing, new insights, and moments filled with love. The theme we're exploring is, what will happen to you in the second half of May? First, let's take a look at the main energy surrounding this period. The dominant energy for this time suggests that something is beginning to move. If there's been something in your life, whether related to work, studies, or personal projects, that you've long wanted to push forward but kept running into delays or blockages, now is the time it begins to shift. The reading speaks of the appearance of a crack, and through that crack, a new flow of energy will pour in, leading you to reconnect with the outside world in a completely unexpected way. The Four of Swords has appeared, suggesting that you may have been living in a more withdrawn state recently, or that your mind has been turning inward, limiting action, avoiding connection, and settling into a quiet stillness. If this resonates with you, then the reading is saying, you're about to be pulled out of that state. What lies ahead is a powerful and dynamic experience, something that will awaken you, making it impossible to stay within your comfort zone any longer. What's more, this will arrive in a completely unexpected way, entirely unplanned. It could be an unforeseen encounter, an unexpected situation, or a stranger who unexpectedly becomes significant. These disruptions from your usual path will act as the catalyst for your transformation. The reading emphasizes that new connections will emerge through your existing close relationships. In other words, through someone you already know, you may be introduced to someone new, and from there, a whole series of opportunities and fresh experiences may begin to unfold. And this shift won't be limited to social interactions or personal connections. It will also bring about tangible changes in your reality. It could involve your work, your living situation, your physical environment, and with it, a broadening of your awareness, mindset, and belief in yourself. You'll feel a leap, both externally and internally, a true moment of transformation. Whatever the specific situation may be, the overarching theme for you in the second half of May is powerfully highlighted by the appearance of the Emperor. This card suggests that you may undergo a lightning strike kind of experience, an event or encounter that shakes you emotionally or mentally in a profoundly awakening way. It could feel like a rebirth, both physically and spiritually. Perhaps you felt stuck or had something on pause, a plan, a path, a relationship, and now all of it may begin to move again. It may restart, continue, or be brought back to life. Some of you may be on the verge of starting a new life, a new job, or launching an entirely new business venture. And for others, this may be the moment to reflect on your entire life journey, for a side story in your life, a forgotten dream, an abandoned passion, or a path you've never dared to walk, to suddenly rise to the surface and become your new center. It may also be through a connection with someone that you're introduced to ideas or experiences you never imagined before, and through that, your circle of life begins to expand in unexpected ways. To sum it up, the message for you is this. From familiar relationships, everyday conversations, and close personal connections, a flow will begin to ripple outward. And through that, you'll encounter people and circumstances that feel as though they were tailor-made for you, the kind of things that could open a whole new chapter in your life. A new story is about to begin. At the same time, you will come to feel something very profound, that you are a unique individual. You will realize that you are not a side character in someone else's life, but the main character in your own journey. A dramatic experience may awaken you, as if a door has just opened, inviting you to step into a new reality where you are allowed to shine fully, just as you are. Yes, that is what the cards have conveyed. If, while listening, you felt something resonate with your own experience, or sensed a strong intuition that this message is heading your way, then I invite you to continue with the next part of the reading, focused on your career and the efforts you've been making. When tuning into the energy surrounding your work, one thing becomes increasingly clear. It seems that recently, you've been emotionally closed off. You may not be completely isolated from the world, but inwardly, you've been withdrawing, and this has gradually created an invisible pressure that is now beginning to manifest physically. The reading indicates that you are starting to emerge from this state. As I mentioned in the general overview, it appears you went through a period where tasks that once felt easy suddenly became inexplicably difficult. For example, you used to enjoy reading, but now even getting through a single page takes significant time and effort. Or perhaps you once had strong focus, but now you find yourself expending twice the energy just to complete simple mental tasks. In fact, for some of you, even the most basic activities like deciding to take a shower or get out of bed became challenging. Actions tied to basic human survival instincts once required deep contemplation. The reading suggests that some of you may have been in a state close to depression or severely depleted of energy, both mentally and physically. But now everything is beginning to shift. You are entering a phase of recovery. The things that once felt impossible will gradually become easier. The things that once drained your motivation will now begin to spark inspiration once more. This is a clear sign of an inner rebirth, and you are fully capable of starting again, even if it means taking just one small step at a time. And what I sense is that perhaps during the past period, you also realized that you were the one complicating things within your own mind. The reading reveals that you were fully aware of this. You knew exactly what was going on inside you, knew that you were tangled up, knew that something wasn't right. Yet at the same time, you didn't know what to do, didn't know how to bring everything back to the way it used to be. Maybe you felt stuck, as if you could no longer return to the version of yourself you once were. But now, the message from the cards is calling you to return to your origins, to come back to your most authentic self, the place where you once began with passion, with curiosity, with excitement. The Ace and the Magician have appeared together, symbols of a new beginning and an abundant creative force. This means that the energy you once had, the version of you that was full of life, that lost yourself in what you loved, will return. And once again, you'll be able to immerse yourself in the things that once moved you, that once made you feel truly alive. That moment in time, when everything felt exciting, when you felt so aligned with your true self, is the period you're being called to remember. Reconnect with that version of you, because your energy is about to be restored in just that way. It is no coincidence that the cards keep returning to the theme of healing. A card carrying the message of a healer has also appeared. You are entering a phase that can be described as a rebirth. And what is leading you into this phase are the unexpected experiences, the disruptions to your path, just as I mentioned in the overall theme earlier. The cracks in your daily routines, the small fractures in what once seemed unchanging, these are the openings through which light will enter. From there, a new world will unfold before you. And in this world, you won't just be healed. You'll be renewed, inspired, and awakened. It is precisely these sudden shifts, these unanticipated changes, that will bring you relief, inner renewal and reignite the source of vitality that had long gone cold. And from those very experiences, you will gradually return to your starting point, the place where you once moved with momentum, initiative, and vibrancy in your actions. It's not just about the pace at which you got things done, but also the speed of inspiration, of life force, of inner drive. The reading shows that you will slowly reclaim the things you once thought were lost, such as desire, enthusiasm, vitality, both mentally and physically. Because it seems that in the past, you may have fallen into a state of whatever, where nothing felt important anymore. Perhaps you lost interest in eating, became neglectful in your routines, or even forgot how to care for yourself. Take, for example, the way you chose your clothes. You used to love beauty, used to care about how you presented yourself, but lately it no longer felt meaningful. Even the act of taking care of yourself became something you hesitated over, something that felt exhausting just to think about. However, in the second half of May, a new wave of energy will ignite within you. Something unexpected, powerful, and even dramatic may occur, something that makes you suddenly think, what if I try this? Maybe I'll change my hairstyle. I want to improve my fitness. I want to reread the books I once loved, or simply, I want to live differently. All of these thoughts are signs of something deeply positive being reawakened inside you. And the reading also affirms this. This is who you truly are. You are someone filled with inspiration, who thrives on renewal, who carries a deep and powerful desire to live fully. But perhaps life has struck you too many times, left you weary, caused you to lose the light within. Maybe there was a hope you once held that slipped away, and ever since, you've had to struggle with so many unwanted realities, forcing yourself to accept harsh truths, doing your best to stay grounded amidst things that couldn't be changed. The cards are here to say, you have fought with great courage. And now, a new chapter is opening, one where you are finally allowed to live as your authentic self once more. Because everything has been so intense for such a long time, your mind, your heart, and even your body haven't been able to keep up. The reading shows that you've reached a state of overwhelm, where life moved faster than your ability to process it. But the beautiful thing is this. The powerful cards that just emerged are delivering a very clear message. You will recover. Your rhythm will return. Your energy will be reignited. That feeling of I haven't been myself in so long will be replaced with a quiet realization. I think I'm finally coming back. I'll continue to draw more cards to go deeper into your career, or whatever it is that you're pursuing, because each person will interpret this reading in their own way. 2 cards just jumped out, and that always carries an important message. The Wheel of Fortune has appeared, a very auspicious sign. It reaffirms everything that has already been conveyed, a powerful turning point, an unexpected shift that is approaching. Alongside it comes the Hanged Man, a symbol of periods where you cannot control the flow of fate, a sensation of being suspended in midair, unsure of when you'll be released. Both of these cards speak to events beyond your control, moments you cannot foresee, and that's exactly what was mentioned at the very beginning. Something unexpected is coming, and it will change both your inner world and the external reality around you. The Nine of Pentacles carries a very specific message. Through someone or a particular situation, your world will begin to expand. It could be a person introducing you to a new place, a new opportunity, or it might be that you suddenly feel the urge to step outside your usual boundaries and reconnect with the world beyond your own walls. The map within you will widen. And that bridge, the one that leads you there, will be the very surprise that life presents during the second half of May. The reading repeatedly echoes this message. There will be a fated encounter, something like a lightning strike. Whether it's with a person, a circumstance, a field of work, or a particular event, it will mark a significant turning point. A profound transformation will arise from something unplanned, and your inner world will begin to shift in an entirely new direction. The beauty of all these changes, the turbulence, the new opportunities, is that they genuinely serve your highest good. They are a well-earned reward for everything you've quietly endured and strived for all this time. And more than anything, the cards suggest that you will experience something deeply moving, the feeling that, at last, someone truly understands you. As if someone finally sees the parts of you that you've never been able to put into words, and that will make you feel both seen and understood. Someone, or a particular situation, will offer you a new perspective, a new possibility, a new direction, a new solution. You might suddenly find yourself thinking, so I can be like that too. So I am allowed to be myself without having to constantly push so hard. So I can still become a better version of who I am. This is a process of awakening, where you step out of an old, colorless world and into one that is bursting with color and life. And perhaps the dramatic experience that lies ahead will lead you into an entirely new world, a space, a community, a type of person you've never encountered before. From there, you'll have the chance to witness things you've never seen before. Your mind will expand, your awareness will grow, and your life will begin to unfold in ways you could never have anticipated. It's not just about novelty, it's about quality. The people you meet, the connections you form, each will carry depth, resonance, and alignment with your inner self. And what's remarkable is this: they will understand you. They won't need long explanations. They won't require you to prove anything. If you're struggling with something inside, if you've closed yourself off from the world, the people who enter your life during this time won't try to fix you or interpret you. They will simply listen, just a nod, quiet acceptance, and true understanding, and that alone will be enough for you to feel a sense of healing. Because sometimes, what we need most isn't advice or a solution, but the warm presence of someone who, with just a look, says, "I see you." Sometimes, all it takes is someone sitting beside you in silence, saying nothing at all, for your heart to feel a little less heavy, and I believe that's true. But it seems that in the past, you've been through moments where you were deeply invalidated, perhaps dismissed in ways that cut especially deep. I can feel that clearly in the energy of this reading. Perhaps you've heard words like, "just try harder," even when you were already running on empty. Maybe you've been compared to others. They're managing just fine. Or it's not just you, as if your pain were trivial, as if your emotions didn't deserve recognition. People saw you through the lens of appearances, through the surface of your effort, but no one truly reached the part of you that was hurting inside. I know you're not looking for someone to solve things for you, because you are someone who takes full responsibility for your own life. The Nine of Pentacles has appeared before, symbolizing independence, someone who knows how to stand strong on their own 2 feet. You've never asked too much of anyone. You're not asking to be fixed. All you've ever wanted in your most fragile moments is for someone to simply nod and say, "I see." So that's how you feel? You're not seeking advice, not asking for solutions, not looking for a savior. What you long for, pure and simple, is empathy. Someone with the sensitivity to understand that you don't need their words, only their presence, to sit with you, to listen, to nod, and to do so without judgment. Perhaps there was a time when you didn't receive even the slightest trace of that delicate healing. Everything felt sealed shut, your heart tightly compressed, your soul imprisoned in invisible chains. The reading reveals that you once felt profoundly alone, not because there weren't people around, but because no one truly heard you, no one truly saw you. However, in the second half of May, the current begins to shift. The reading likens this to knots being slowly untied, bindings gradually loosening. The tension you've carried, like a body perpetually braced for impact, trained to endure, will now begin to soften. Everything will start to feel lighter, more fluid. You'll feel the release, as though you're being freed from a state you've been forced to remain in for far too long. At last, you will be able to be yourself, naturally, effortlessly. And that, in itself, is the deepest kind of healing. Perhaps what you're feeling now isn't just reassurance, but also excitement and joy. A sense that you're being opened up to a dazzling new world, as if for the first time, you're touching something fresh, seeing a new hue of life. Everything begins to feel more vibrant, stirring something lively within you. You'll have the chance to step into truly positive connections, conversations that are constructive, interactions that may be brief in words but rich in warmth and understanding. I have a strong sense that such relationships are being gifted to you in the near future. Next, I'll move into the part of the reading that focuses on relationships, although, in truth, much of what has already been said has subtly touched on this area. Your emotional energy reveals that, at last, you are ready to release the tangled feelings you once carried, as if the knots and confusion within your mind are finally beginning to loosen. However, as we step into the realm of relationships, the first message that comes through, though a little sharp, is incredibly accurate. There may still be remnants of past emotions. You might still feel slightly caught up with someone, or something, a leftover thread that hasn't yet been swept away. And while that might sound a bit harsh, it's simply what remains, and it may linger in your heart just a little while longer. Even so, immediately afterward, 2 incredibly positive cards appeared, the Ace of Swords and the Knight of Swords. Both speak of clarity, decisiveness, and forward movement. This indicates that a new relationship, or a fresh perspective on your existing relationships, is on its way, one that will help you resolve lingering issues at their core. New conversations and interactions will begin to take shape, ones where you don't have to say too much to be understood, where you don't need to justify or explain yourself, yet you are fully accepted just as you are. Much like what was seen in the area of career and personal growth, your relationships are also about to be elevated. You'll encounter people who truly listen without judgment, individuals who can form deep bonds through presence and gaze alone, rather than with excessive words. People in whose company your heart softens, and you no longer feel the need to brace yourself. People who make you feel that you are worthy of being understood, even in silence. Of course, no matter how things unfold, life will always contain certain relationships that cannot be easily severed. Family members, neighbors, old friends, colleagues in the workplace. These are the kinds of connections that, even when they no longer bring positive emotions, still require you to maintain some form of engagement. The reading shows that you've been doing your best to navigate these situations, even if it has been exhausting. It's clear that there were moments when you wanted to stop putting in serious effort into these relationships. Not because you are cold or indifferent, but because you came to realize that being sincere, being present, hoping to be understood, only led you to further depletion. You may have reached your limit, and now you choose to manage rather than to deeply connect. The cards reveal that you've shifted your way of relating. You no longer open up so freely, no longer express your true emotions so directly, not because you're being insincere, but because you understand something deeply. There are people, and there are relationships, where no matter how hard you try, they will never truly understand you. And choosing to reserve your sincerity for those who are truly deserving, that is entirely the right thing to do. The Moon card has appeared, often a symbol of insecurity, of feeling misunderstood, of hidden wounds, and emotional ambiguity. In combination with the other cards in this reading, it reveals that you've likely experienced a form of emotional bullying. You may have been in relationships where the other person was always imposing their version of truth, speaking as if they knew you better than you knew yourself, consistently invalidating the way you lived, the way you felt. Perhaps you once approached these connections with deep patience and sincerity, doing everything you could to be understood. But now you've made the decision to stop trying. You're not changing because you're running away. You're changing because you've grown. Because you now understand that kindness must be given where it is respected. And you've come to realize that the more you try to explain yourself in certain dynamics, the more your truth becomes distorted. The reading speaks clearly. This shift in how you offer your sincerity marks a turning point. When you stop trying to be understood within a toxic relationship, you create space for a new path to emerge. Those cracks, those small but undeniable fractures, are the very places where the light will begin to seep in. And that light will lead to a major transformation, a significant opportunity in new relationships, ones where you no longer have to brace yourself, no longer have to explain, no longer have to sculpt yourself to fit, because you'll be embraced just as you are. You are gradually moving toward the light, in a very natural way, through your honesty, your simplicity, and the innate potential that has always been within you. It's not that you're forcing yourself to evolve. Rather, you're aligning, finding resonance with something that fits more closely with your true nature. The reading makes this beautifully clear. So, even in the future, if you still maintain relationships that can't easily be severed, family, relatives, colleagues, longtime friends, or with someone you're romantically involved with, if you're viewing this reading through the lens of love, you will no longer let your emotions be swayed the way they once were. You're now beginning to approach those connections with greater reason and realism. You'll no longer be overly concerned with being understood or accepted, because you've already glimpsed a new path, a different world where you can be fully yourself without needing to prove anything. The reason you've been able to transform in such a profound way is because a new opportunity has opened up to you, a new connection, a new environment, a world in which you no longer feel unsafe. As you begin to place your trust in this new path, the judgments of the past will no longer shake you. The pain of rejection or dismissal, which once cut so deeply, will lose its grip. Not because you've grown numb, but because you've moved beyond it. Now you choose to distance yourself from what harms you, not by avoiding it, but by calmly and powerfully stepping away. And to affirm this shift, a very powerful card has emerged, the Devil. This confirms once again that you were once entangled in a connection, a space, or a situation that made you feel mentally imprisoned. It may have been family, and if that resonates, I want to extend my deepest compassion to you, or a long-standing relationship you couldn't easily walk away from. It feels as though you were once forced to conform to someone else's will. You were pushed into an emotionally tense state, unable to resist, unable to withdraw, unable to be free and true to yourself. I can clearly sense a heavy pressure energy, as if you were confined within a rigid framework, controlled through sweet words mixed with coercion, or even subtle manipulation. Within these cards, I also perceive shadows of jealousy, selfishness, or a desire to manipulate from the other party. And you tried your best to endure, to understand, to preserve. But now the miracle is that you are no longer in that state. You are gradually breaking free. You are moving toward the light. And because of that, for the first time in a long while, you will be able to live with ease, true to your authentic self. Moreover, it's possible that in the past you sensed someone quietly comparing themselves to you, using you as a benchmark to measure their own happiness. This may never have been spoken aloud, but you felt it clearly. You might have thought, I'm no longer operating on that level, as if you had moved beyond an old energy frequency, yet were still being pulled into a reference system that no longer fit. And because it's not easy to sever those kinds of relationships, you had to find ways to navigate, to behave, and to cope within the limits allowed. However, the reading clearly shows that you will be freed from that source of tension. The Queen of Pentacles appears, a symbol of stability, of a woman who understands herself, loves herself, and brings healing. This indicates that you will encounter someone who truly understands your essence and your life circumstances. Someone who can see inside you, not just through the surface, without judgment or comparison. This is a connection that carries profound healing energy. And because someone like that is present in your life, your heart will gradually begin to open again. The behaviors that were once restricted, the emotions that were once suppressed, they will slowly return to their natural rhythm. This is the healing process, a theme emphasized throughout this entire reading. I recall a line from a movie, "Don't speak as if you understand me." Perhaps you have been in that very state. Deep inside, there was a quiet anger. Don't say you understand me when you haven't lived my life, when you know nothing of what I've been through. Yet you attack and judge me? The reading clearly shows that you have been hurt by words laden with control and judgment, perhaps from a family member, a friend, or even within a romantic relationship. If you are viewing this reading through the lens of love, it's very possible that you were caught in a controlling or manipulative relationship, one where there were profound differences in values, in ways of loving, and in expressing affection. It's possible that the other person used manipulative tactics, making you feel like a pawn in a strategic game. You may have been drawn into a relationship where misunderstanding, disrespect, and denied pain gradually caused you to lose yourself. But once again, I want to emphasize this. The journey ahead is one of healing and liberation. You will gradually break free from feeling judged, compared, and emotionally drained. You will begin to be seen and understood properly by the right people. And that is when you will truly live again with your original, pure, and free heart. Perhaps some of you following this reading have been in a complicated romantic relationship, one difficult to share with others, carrying many unspoken burdens. But whether it's love, friendship, or any other kind of relationship, the message is clear. You will find a way out. You will cross a threshold that once seemed insurmountable. The situations, environments, or inner states that once made you feel trapped and suffocated will be undone. As I've mentioned from the start, your heart will return to its original shape, a natural, open, and lighter state. However, the reading subtly reveals one important truth. Because you have been confined and restricted for so long, you may have unconsciously internalized that contracted state. Like a form of shape memory, although you are now released, your heart still tends to shrink back instinctively due to the echoes of old wounds. Perhaps you've tried to return to your true self, but with just a slight touch from past memories, you recoil again as a reflex. Yet, the reading says that you are about to enter an experience powerful enough, warm enough, awakening enough, sincere enough, to undo all that contraction. Something is coming that will expand you, not only bringing you back to your former self, but taking you further, deeper, and wider. You will discover a new version of yourself, one richer in inner strength, more multidimensional, and freer. If you feel something stirring deep within, please welcome it. And now, I will share with you the final, overarching message of this entire reading. And wonderfully, the blessing card has appeared. A blessing from the universe. A sign that what is coming to you is truly deserved, not as a reward for endurance, but as what has rightfully belonged to you all along. Accompanying it is another card symbolizing movement, confirming that you will genuinely step out of the old cycle. The limits that once confined you, whether psychological, emotional, or social, will be broken. You will emerge from the circle that once imprisoned you and enter a vast space where you can be yourself, be respected, and live fully and brilliantly. A new phase is unfolding, full of light, vitality, and rich with meaningful connections. And that is the universe's blessing for you. Indeed, all of this is a great blessing for you. The reading clearly shows that in the near future, you will build relationships that foster growth and bring positive value. Relationships will not only help you heal, but also help you grow, expand, and move forward. If an unexpected opportunity arises, pay close attention to it, because it could be the turning point leading you to a new journey. Due to the unpredictable nature of the upcoming experience, you may encounter situations that disrupt your schedule or personal plans. You might have to pause something or dedicate time to something unplanned. But the reading urges you to stay alert to these disruptions, for they are moments when the universe is sending you a message. The card numbered 20 also appears, and the number 2 holds special significance in this reading. It represents the flow between two energies, reason and intuition, between yourself and the world around you. Raise your antennas of perception, whether inward to feel your heart or outward to sense signals from your environment. Whichever way, maintain a delicate sensitivity, because this opportunity will not arrive with a loud bang, but will gently weave in like a cool breeze. And indeed, although there may be some disruption, it won't drain your energy. On the contrary, it will feel like a child playing under the sun, tired but joyful, spent but full of life. A vivid, lively, refreshing experience. One that will awaken the true energy within you, helping not only your recovery, but also your growth beyond your former self. I will close the reading for those of you who chose pile 2 here. If anything in today's message softens your heart or stirs a thought or feeling, please leave a smile, an emoji, or a few lines to share. Even the slightest sign lets me know that the universe's message has reached someone who needed to hear it. Thank you so much for listening. I hope we will meet again in future readings, where you are always welcomed with respect and understanding. Hello to all of you who chose pile 3. Thank you for waiting. Now, I will begin the reading for those who selected pile number 3. I hope this reading brings you healing, new insights, and moments filled with love. The theme is, what will happen to you in the second half of May? First, let's take a look at the main energy surrounding you during this period. The key card is a major arcana, indicating that this will be a deeply significant phase for you. Your energy appears as if it is being compressed, like a flame that has yet to ignite, a heat building up with no outlet. I'm reminded of the image of a body losing its ability to regulate temperature, a state where it cannot cool down or release pressure. This reflects a clear inner tension within your spirit. It seems that recently, you have had to confront and devote a great deal of effort to something, whether a problem, a project, a relationship, or an internal process that you have been compelled to pursue with all your strength. Yet despite all your efforts, you still find yourself feeling disconnected from yourself, unable to regulate your emotions or reason. There is a contradiction between your attempts to control and the overwhelming sense that things are becoming increasingly uncontrollable. I clearly see in this reading that you are a person of great responsibility and seriousness toward what you pursue. Yet precisely because of this, the deeper you dig, the more it feels like what you're trying to grasp slips further away. The more you explore, accumulate, and analyze, the harder it becomes to condense, process, or fully understand the very process you're going through. What you're facing is no longer simple. Knowledge, information, and experience pile up, making it impossible to neatly say, I've understood it all. The reading also shows that you are in a process of continual self-updating, as if you're upgrading yourself daily. Almost every day, you experience some change, big or small, in your awareness, emotions, or perspective. While this rapid growth aids your maturity, it also leaves you in a constant state of yearning for answers. A feeling of urgency. I need to know now. I want certainty. I want closure. You're eager to find a solution, yet what you face lies beyond the scope of ordinary logical control. This is the primary energy I sense from you in the second half of May, a complex inner journey where you simultaneously delve deep, get swept away, strive to understand, and feel overwhelmed. Now, you stand at the threshold of a crucial shift, releasing pressure and rediscovering balance within yourself. You have continuously pushed beyond your old limits, as if layer by layer of your protective shell has been peeled away, and you have expanded beyond the original framework of who you are. Yet precisely because you have grown and stretched so much, when you try to gather all of that to express it, whether through words, actions, or some form of expression, you feel the need to accumulate a great deal of energy and prepare thoroughly to handle it. Otherwise, You risk being overwhelmed by the vast amount of information, emotions, and insights accumulated throughout your journey. You have experienced moments of not knowing where to begin. The deeper your understanding becomes, the more tangled and elusive everything feels, making it difficult to simply explain or make sense of. Yet the truth is you have made significant inner progress. At the same time, you still often feel as if you're only in the initial stages of your real-life journey, as if everything remains stuck, not truly beginning. You may have lived through a period demanding immense patience, a time when you constantly asked yourself, "I've changed so much, but why does it still feel out of sync, like the timing isn't right?" Perhaps you've fallen into a strange loop, a feeling that you've matured greatly, yet still sense this isn't what you truly want. You have accumulated vast experience, knowledge, and deep insights. This has allowed you to see the world around you more clearly, everything becoming sharper and more detailed. But because of that, you've become overly sensitive to the small things, unable to simplify matters as you once could. Whenever you react to something, you get pulled into a complex chain of thoughts, then overwhelmed by emotions, and then must struggle to regain your inner balance. Throughout this recent period, you have been continuously seeking ways to live more peacefully and comfortably amidst all these challenges. You have tried many approaches. You have reflected, experimented, and struggled to find a way to overcome and harmonize with the swirling emotions, thoughts, and realizations inside you. If what I'm sharing resonates with you, if you feel it aligns with your experience, then this part of the reading is meant for you. During the second half of May, the energy of the reading tells you that this is a time of harvest, a moment when you begin to see the fruits, abundance, and expanded potentials in your life. The Emperor card has also appeared, a sign that everything, whether work, relationships, or whatever you're pursuing, will start falling perfectly into place according to your vision. It's like a moment of rebirth where you regain your breath, your vitality, and most importantly, your own rhythm. It seems that you have been in a state where, for quite some time, you felt unable to find your rhythm, unable to flow with the current, and have been enduring this sense of being out of sync. But now, the reading shows that you will rediscover your own unique rhythm. More than that, a significant achievement, something you have worked tirelessly for, is beginning to take shape, landing and solidifying in the real world. It will mark a turning point signifying new maturity, tangible growth, and inner stability. And this is not just a general theme. The present energy brings a clear message. To receive, embrace, and truly live with these achievements, don't focus too much on the gap between where you are and your goal, and then feel discouraged. Don't tell yourself, "I'm still too far away," or "the road ahead is too long." Instead, concentrate on the steps you're taking, the resources and opportunities right in front of you. Enjoy the process. Relax your mind. Return to your original mindset, the place where you began this journey with excitement, sincerity, and without pressure. Reconnect with your original feelings, and from there, move toward your goal with calmness and joy. This is the message the reading wants to emphasize for you right now. Perhaps this is also one of the central themes of this reading, that if you do not relax and gently release yourself from the state of tension, it will be very difficult to regain your natural rhythm. And the message the reading wants to convey to you is this, that letting go, returning to your natural state, is absolutely essential. I've shared quite a lot already, but to summarize the main theme briefly, you will have a moment that feels like a breath of fresh life being breathed into you, a moment of rebirth and recovery. The reading shows that you will regain vitality and rediscover your own natural rhythm. A positive transformation is about to take place. Now, we will move on to the next part, looking at your work or the things you are currently striving for. The World card has appeared. This is the card of completion, the World, a symbol of fulfillment, accomplishment, and the successful conclusion of a cycle. When this card appears, I get the sense that you are someone who approaches what you do with great seriousness and responsibility. You have done what needed to be done, completed your tasks. That is undeniable. Not only that, but you carry a powerful energy, seemingly always striving to push beyond your own limits. You don't settle for just enough. You aim for greater, broader progress. It can be said that you possess great inner strength, a spirit of ambition, and an unwavering commitment to excellence. You may not fully realize this yourself, but at the moment you're hearing these words, it's likely that both your mind and body are experiencing exhaustion. Yet, the reading once again emphasizes this. You have done what needed to be done, and you fully deserve respect. You are someone worthy of admiration. And so, the first message for you right now is very clear. Immediately praise yourself. Tell yourself, "I have truly made an effort and done very well." because the reading shows that you have continuously broken through your own limits again and again, and not only that, you have constantly rebuilt yourself from the ruins from challenging collisions. No matter how painful or difficult the path, you have never given up on growing. That is something truly worthy of appreciation. This is also clearly reflected in the energy present. As I mentioned earlier, it seems that recently you have poured a great deal of effort into something. But in reality, this is not just a recent event. It is a long journey, a process you have persistently pursued for a very long time. What you possess today is not something achieved overnight, but the result of sustained, persistent, and profound effort. And this journey of self-challenge will continue throughout the second half of May. But this is not something negative. In fact, the reading shows that it is part of your essence, part of your inner nature. You are someone who constantly engages in self-dialogue, always asking questions like, who am I? What kind of person should I become? Where am I currently on my journey? These questions are ever present in your mind, and you continue to walk the path of exploration, reflection, and self-improvement. You are someone who never stops questioning and contemplating yourself. However, there is one thing the reading senses very clearly. It seems that you have not truly cared for your heart. It appears that you have not yet been able to direct your emotions toward that, or you haven't had enough time and space to do so. Yet this is precisely one of the most crucial factors. As mentioned in the theme, letting go, relaxing yourself, and nurturing your inner world are the ways for you to regain your natural rhythm. In the second half of May, I see that you are still fighting with yourself, still striving to push beyond your limits. But the reading sends a very clear message. Don't try too hard. This is a message of special weight meant for you during this period. Don't harm yourself through perfectionism or excessive determination. However, there is something extremely positive and encouraging shining through clearly in this reading. Two important cards, the Ten of Pentacles and the World, have both appeared. This is a sign that you are approaching a major turning point, a solid affirmation that, I am okay now. You will gain a sense of security, a foundation in your life that feels stable, though not necessarily permanent. It will certainly bring you a profound and lasting sense of safety. The reading shows that this is a leap forward you can absolutely turn into your own reality. Regarding finances, the current energy is very favorable. The reading shows that money is flowing strongly, as if you are creating a positive current in your personal economic sphere. There is a possibility of an unexpected income, or you may receive some supplementary earnings. This is the phase where you will be recognized and duly rewarded for all the efforts you have invested previously. However, precisely because of this, I also sense another side of you, a version that always tries too hard, always wants to do better, to push a little further. The reading picks up on this. You are always ready to give your all. But please remember, you have done very well already. You don't need to overexert yourself to be deserving, because that worthiness is something you have earned through your heart, your determination, and your perseverance. In the initial theme, I mentioned that it feels like you are carrying an intense internal heat, as if you cannot regulate the temperature within yourself, and perhaps you don't even know how to manage it properly. Now, in the second half of May, the reading shows that you will have a moment when you can harmoniously control yourself. That's why the Ten of Pentacles and the World cards have appeared. They signal that you will discover something that allows you to affirm, this is it. It could be a method, a direction, or a unique approach that you find on your own, something that truly suits you, something that is authentically you. The reading shows you will find a way to continue without feeling overwhelmed, and you may even enjoy the process. For example, this way I can sustain long-term, or this approach allows me to work happily. When you enter a state where you feel comfortable, light, and free from the pressure of before, that is when the universe begins to blow favorable winds your way. A supportive breeze will appear to help you move forward more easily. It can be said that until now, you have been very harsh on yourself. Perhaps you have carried the mindset of, I must not fail, or not even the smallest mistake is acceptable. And maybe when you stumbled even just a little, you chose to return to the starting point and begin again from scratch. But now, the reading wants you to know that these things no longer need to be hidden. All those parts you considered flaws are actually your unique colors, your distinctive personality. You don't need to force yourself to be perfect. Allow yourself to be who you truly are, with all your awkwardness, your scars, your repeated attempts, and your persistent efforts that no one sees. When you dare to reveal, accept, and love these aspects, they will become your character, your charm, your unique essence that only you possess. When you learn to embrace your unique qualities, what once felt like headwinds, the difficulties that challenged you, will suddenly turn into tailwinds, propelling you forward. The reading tells you, yes, that's exactly the way to go. That's the path you should follow. When you can fully accept yourself, just as you are, you open the door to a new chapter that is simple, gentle, yet full of uplift and blossoming in your life. You might even feel a moment of surprise. Wait, so that's actually okay? Or could this really be the right way? And indeed it is. Unexpected turning points will come to you gently, in ways you never imagined. And the wonderful thing is, all the effort, everything you've done so far is not invalidated. It is not meaningless. On the contrary, it forms a precious foundation, a solid base from which you can rise. The reading shows that what changes is not the value you've created, but how you express it, how you channel your energy. You could say that you will feel a change toward a clearer sense of direction, no longer wandering or feeling lost. Something will fit just right, at just the right scale, allowing you to be confident that this is your path. Therefore, the reading once again emphasizes the message shared at the beginning. You once felt unsure how to manage yourself. Even though your inner self has matured greatly and your experience has deepened, the rapid expansion of your vision and inner world made you feel difficult to control yourself. Alongside that, your harshness toward yourself, your perfectionism, has only made things more challenging. But now, the reading brings forth a gentle and healing image. You are gradually learning how to regulate your own temperature. Not too hot, not too cold, just balanced, steady, and easy to breathe. A state where you no longer need to push yourself hard, yet you can still grow and be yourself, naturally, confidently, and full of vitality. So, I will repeat this many times. Try to enjoy everything as much as possible. Relax yourself, and be gentle with yourself. The reading encourages you to recall the feelings you had at the very beginning, when you first directed your heart toward what you are doing now. At that time, didn't you feel excited, full of energy? You weren't burdened by everything so heavily. You acted naturally, carefree, without worrying too much about others' opinions or judgments. And what was the outcome? You still radiated positive influence to those around you, didn't you? You accomplished many good things, with nothing to regret. The reading wants to emphasize this to you. The valuable knowledge and experience you have accumulated, even if at times it feels overwhelming and complex, are truly your treasures. The issue isn't that you possess too much, but how to use them flexibly, effectively, and in ways that foster connection. Start by expressing them outwardly, not just for others, but also for yourself. And to do that, you need to return to the original emotions, to the initial spirit when you chose this path, with the unique essence and personality that belongs solely to you. And that is precisely what this reading for the second half of May wants you to realize, that returning to your natural rhythm, the moment when you feel truly revitalized, is the moment you remember how you began with a certain mindset, and you allow yourself to come back to that place, authentically, without strain. If anything in these words resonates with you, if you feel it is truly so, then quietly embrace it. Now, let us move on to the next part, looking into your relationships. And wonderfully, it seems that in this area, you will receive something very heartening. The reading shows that you'll be granted favor, support, or some kind of blessing from others. This will be a warm reward for you on your journey. Up to this point, all the things you have quietly done for others, the times you poured your heart and effort in, the moments you sacrificed your private time to invest your heart into something, all of that is now returning to you. The reading clearly shows your dedication and giving have not been forgotten. Everything you have done with sincerity is preparing to blossom and bear fruit. Looking at the current card, I also sense that you may have been in relationships where you felt used, moments when you realized others saw you merely as a tool, a means to fulfill their own needs. But the reading tells you this. All those experiences were part of the path leading you back to true happiness. An event is about to occur that will make it clear to you. I am not meaningless. Everything you have done has been, is, and will be acknowledged in a way that is truly deserved. This is also a message about the law of reciprocity. The kindness you have given, even in small ways that you may have forgotten, has become precious in the hearts of others. It might have been just a word, a simple gesture, but for the recipient, it was warmth, motivation, a spiritual gift, or even a talisman they carried throughout their journey. The reading affirms that the energy of gratitude from those around you, whether from one person or many, is gathering and will return to you in the form your heart needs most. Notably, the reading also reveals three queens: the Queen of Cups, the Queen of Wands, and the Queen of Pentacles. This is an incredibly powerful combination of mature feminine energy, nurturing, support, and both material and spiritual independence. It indicates that you are in a very special phase, where maturity, compassion, the ability to create value, and the capacity to preserve that value within yourself are all blooming simultaneously. This is a time not only for you to receive what you deserve from others, but also to truly recognize the sacred value within yourself. Indeed, you have a profound influence on those around you. I've mentioned this before, and now the reading reaffirms it. You carry a natural influence that requires no effort to show or build. You can still radiate powerfully simply through your sincere and loving presence. All three queens carry gentle, profound, and compassionate energy. The reading shows that you have a big heart, a heart that naturally compels you to care for others, no matter who they are. You might think, I'm not really like that, but the truth is, you're someone who can act for others naturally, without expecting anything in return. In fact, you can help others without hesitation or second thoughts. Whenever you see a need, you act immediately. And those heartfelt actions you have taken are now becoming a source of gratitude from the universe and from the people you have helped. Although this gratitude may not come instantly, it quietly exists and will return to you, one way or another. Perhaps in the past, you felt you wasted too much time and devoted too much passion to those who didn't deserve it. Maybe you experienced moments where you wanted to cry out, feeling used, that your innocence and kindness were stolen. But the reading wants you to understand this. Everything in life moves in cycles of energy. Nothing you have done with heart is ever lost. It is simply on its way back to you. Those who have hurt others or taken what was not theirs will, at some point, face the consequences. Conversely, those who have saved the fate of others and offered light will find that the universe prepares a world worthy of the spiritual growth they have achieved. This may sound idealistic or far-fetched, especially to those feeling deeply exhausted. But this is not mere consolation. It is a truth I have witnessed and deeply believe in. Your reading now clearly reflects this. Energy is flowing back, circulating toward you. The wounds you have carried in relationships, the scars, the cracks, and the imprints of memories will all eventually heal. You will receive what you truly deserve for the purity you once gave, and the universe will not allow you to move past those experiences in vain. Perhaps in the past, you endured material losses, something was taken from you, or you felt you sacrificed too much. Beyond loss, you may have felt emptiness, even emotions like resentment and injustice. But the reading clearly affirms this. If all you have done came from a sincere heart, from genuine goodwill toward others, then what you have given will surely return to you, following an unerring cycle of energy. Although this may sound somewhat spiritual, the reading clearly shows that you have always lived with all your heart and dedication. Whether toward others or yourself, you have given your all. That energy is not lost. It is gradually taking shape, ripening to return to you. I drew an additional card, and wonderfully, it is the Ace of Cups. This card symbolizes emotional fulfillment, a new beginning filled with love and deep healing. The card speaks of a spiritual gift, perhaps affection, comfort, or genuine connection, preparing to be sent your way. Looking at the imagery on the card, I sense something very special. Perhaps at this moment, you do not recognize or are not yet ready to receive it. You may have told yourself, "That's over, I'm no longer expecting anything, I will set it all aside and move on." But this card reminds you that, even if you turn away from it, love, understanding, and warmth are gently flowing toward you, like water overflowing from a sacred cup, soft and unforced. The Ace of Cups also signifies an outpouring, a moment when your heart is filled and healed. What you have given, those acts of kindness you may have even forgotten, are now gradually crystallizing into something tangible and beautiful. It might be a person, an opportunity, or a deeply moving moment that touches you profoundly, and this is how the universe expresses its gratitude. The reading emphasizes that the energy of gratitude is finding its way back to you not just as a concept, but as something very real, deeply touching, and entirely deserving of who you are. The Ace of Water, also known as the Ace of Cups, carries the message of a new beginning born from receiving a gift. This beginning comes from love, healing, and gratitude, and it symbolizes emotional fullness. The reading clearly shows that the time stolen from you, the losses you have endured, not only will they be compensated, but they will be returned with an abundance far beyond your expectations. This is the overflowing of the cup, where emotions, joy, and reward pour forth without end. The Ace of Cups is sometimes described as a gift from the divine, a blessing from the universe given to those who have given without expecting anything in return. You might find this a bit spiritual, and indeed, I cannot converse with the divine, but life truly holds miracles. There will be moments when you find yourself saying, I can't believe this is happening to me, or it's like a movie. And these unbelievable events occur at the most unexpected times. The reading indicates that in the second half of May, you may experience a surprising and moving turning point, something that leaves you speechless. I never thought this would come now, or in this way. The image of the cup being filled in the card also evokes the symbol of receiving, not just material things or concrete actions, but emotions, spiritual comfort, and a deep satisfaction that comes from within. In tarot language, the cups also symbolize emotions, spiritual gifts, peaceful healing, and joy experienced through all five senses. It could be a moment when you hear words that deeply move you, see something that melts your heart, or simply feel a relief as if a burden in your heart has quietly been lifted by someone. You may have thought that some abilities are lost forever, that certain precious things cannot be regained, or that parts of yourself were stolen when you gave something to someone else. But the reading tells you that those things you thought were lost always have the chance to be reborn. And not just reborn. They return in a form much richer and gentler. What you have lost will come back to you. Not in the old way, but as something new, filled with love, making your heart truly feel that you are heard, understood, and loved just as you deserve. For you, someone who has felt misunderstood, who once thought that your efforts had been forgotten, the reading now shows that you will receive a clear signal. There are indeed people who see and appreciate what you have done. It's not just recognition, but a feeling of being rewarded, a profound sense that at last, you are truly understood. What resonates most deeply is this message. You will have a moment of realization that being yourself is truly a wonderful thing. A moment when you silently think, I'm so glad I didn't change to please others. Living authentically is truly worth it. The reading says you will have the chance to look back at your entire past and smile in acceptance, not with blame or regret, but with empathy and gratitude for the person you once were. A blessing is being sent your way, not merely a gift, but something extra, an additional reward, as if the universe wants to say, you have done exceptionally well. This is the reward you deserve. And all of this will come through the realm of your relationships. You may be someone who has carried a very deep emotional wound. Perhaps you once thought that all you needed was an apology from someone, or not just empty words, but a tangible action to make amends. The reading understands just how deeply you have been hurt, and that perhaps even now, those feelings remain, unable to fade away. But rest assured, you are about to step into a new experience, one so profound that it will make you look back and quietly tell yourself, actually, the old pain no longer matters. Not because you have forgotten or dismissed what happened, but because you will receive something far better, something more fulfilling, that will free you from being bound by past pain. A gift, subtle, warm, and healing, is on its way to you, and it will be powerful enough to soothe all the cracks that once made you shed tears. Welcome this with an open heart. The reading wants to tell you that a time will come when you smile and think, I have been true to myself, and that is beautiful enough. You will have that experience, a very special one. If you are viewing this reading from a romantic perspective, you can certainly interpret these messages in that light. From the perspective of love, there is a strong possibility that a very encouraging development is about to occur. Perhaps the person you secretly admire will begin to notice you, or a significant opportunity will arise, a situation that makes you realize, I had completely misunderstood before. You may receive clear, sweet, and sincere expressions of affection from the one your heart has always leaned toward, something that truly moves you. The reading has touched on many different aspects, and whether you are viewing it through the lens of love or career, the core message remains. You are about to experience a turning point, a confirmation that you are on the right path. As mentioned earlier in the career section, you will discover a method that suits you, something that makes you feel, this is my path. Similarly, in the overarching theme, you will gradually regain your rhythm, your breath, your life force. In your relationships with others, you will receive back what you once gave, kindness, love, all will return to you, even more beautifully than before. And finally, the overall message the reading emphasizes is this. The things you once longed for, the dreams you thought were just fantasies, are now gradually becoming reality. The scattered pieces of your life, the experiences, the emotions, the choices you once didn't understand why you had to go through, are now beginning to connect. You will suddenly realize that everything happens for a reason, and all that you have endured has contributed to bringing you to this moment. And then, you will realize that within you, between reason and emotion, that at times we're out of sync, at times in conflict, you have finally found balance. You will no longer have to choose between heart and mind, but instead live fully with both, in harmony, with strength, and in full bloom. You will have a very clear sense that your life story is still unfolding, not just continuing vaguely, but opening a new, promising chapter. The reading shows that you will regain faith in the vast potential still ahead of you. Thanks to the blessings soon to be bestowed, the areas in your life where you once felt stretched thin and worn down by overwhelming demands will gradually be soothed. A helping hand will appear exactly where you need it most, helping you to shed some of the burden. A very gentle energy is coming, like the places where you have been overextended will loosen, the areas of tension will ease. You will be able to exhale, relax, and feel. Now I can move forward more gently. And the final message, somewhat different from the earlier reminders to relax and enjoy, is a stronger call to action. Dare to speak out what you truly want. The reading urges you to stop hiding your desires. Recognize your own worth. Acknowledge all that you have done, all that you have overcome. Then, from that place of confidence, speak openly and say, I deserve this. Whether it is love, an opportunity, or a dream, you don't need to justify it, feel guilty, or hesitate. You are being told, no longer treat yourself lightly. You have done so much and come so far. You absolutely have the right to set conditions, to choose, and to claim what you deserve. Stand firm and say, I want this, without needing permission from anyone. The reading emphasizes, there is no reason for you to hold back in receiving the rewards that belong to you. I will close the reading for those of you who chose pile 3 here. If your heart feels comforted or awakened by anything in today's reading, please don't hesitate to leave a greeting, an emoji, or anything you wish to share. To me, each of your responses is a vibrant heartbeat, proof that the invisible threads between us are truly connecting. Thank you for listening with your whole heart. I look forward to meeting you again on the journeys ahead.